This is the exact strategy that I use to get days like this, and this. But not only that, everybody else who is using this strategy has seen significant improvements in their trading. We have countless of traders passing profit from accounts on a day-to-day basis. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how it works. So straight up into the charts. So whether you're trading Forex, futures or crypto, this strategy will work in all markets. So step 1 is going to be market phase. Which phase are we in right now? In an uptrend, downtrend or consolidation? Now if you look closely, we are making higher highs and higher lows. To a lot of guys, this would seem like a consolidation, but clearly we are trending upwards. And you want to ask yourself a very simple question. I want you to go into the daily chart and ask yourself, what is the daily chart telling me? Are we going for the previous day high or for the previous day low? Now look, and I don't want you to overcomplicate things. Since we are just so close to a previous day high, we might as well just go there. However, there is even more information that the daily chart is giving us. If you look closely, we can see that on the left we have a swing high being created. Now I've said this previously, if you have two swing highs being relatively equal close to each other, then those are relative equal highs. So having the relative equal highs combined with the previous day high is an A+ setup. And from here on, I want you to drop down onto the 1 hour time frame. Now I want you to identify swing points that are more likely not to be taken out, because you need key swings that will protect your position. So what is this telling us? Most likely the price will not continue lower, because this low is going to protect our position. And we have already arrived at the trade execution. From here on, you want to start your day at 11 PM UTC Standard Time. And from here on, you want to market order in at the exact price point where the 0 AM candle is going to start. Your stop loss is going to be at the protective swing low that we have identified earlier, and your take profit is going to go to the major drawn liquidity. So once you have identified all of that, I want you to take the trade. Now, as I said previously, your stop loss is going to be at the protective low and your take profit at the major drawn liquidity. From here on, I want you to execute the trade. Now you will go into a drawdown phase, that is very normal. But this strategy has given me such consistent results that it's basically impossible to lose. And as you can see, that's a take profit hit. We have done the analysis beforehand and the market will reward that. This trade alone has made us over $3,500. So on to the next trade. From here on, I'll keep the pace up a little bit faster. Now is price more likely to go to the previous day high or for the previous day low? As you can see, we have a clear bearish candle onto the downside, so it's more likely that we'll go lower instead of higher. So look, we know that we want to go onto the downside for the previous day low. Trading into the previous day low will work, but we want to maximize our profits. That's why we want to find more confluence on the daily chart, such as these relative equal lows being formed. Now once again, relative equal lows combined with the previous day low is very strong. So the next step is going to be, as always, find protective swing highs and lows. We want our position to be protected. If you look closely onto the left, we have an FEG and a swing high has fallen back into that FEG. So this high becomes a protective high. So that is telling us that our stop loss has already been identified. So what would we usually do? We're going to market order in at the 11 PM candle and our stop loss is going to be above the protective high and our take profit to the relative equal lows, because that is our major drawn liquidity. Now this will work. However, there's an even better way so you can increase your profits. Now look, this is where a lot of traders are skipping the video because they don't want to maximize their profits. Now I want you to look for a better entry for your position. The way you're going to do that is basically do the same thing that we have done beforehand. You want to identify relative equal highs that you want to trade back into before we are going to go to the major drawn liquidity, which is actually lower. Now as usual, in order for the market to trade higher, it needs to trade lower, take liquidity from people and then trade higher again. So as you can see, we now have an entire framework to build off from. We want to trade into relative equal highs and then lower. So as always, 11 PM UTC Standard Time. From here on, we would like to market order in. Our stop loss is going to be at the protective high and to the major drawn liquidity. However, we have refined our entry because we know that we want to trade into relative equal highs first. Now this is going to give us way better results overall, because now we have increased our entire risk to reward for 1 for 2.5. So as always, you want to take the trade and trade relentlessly. Now we have already identified the entire stop loss and take profit beforehand. So we're just going to take the trade, and no matter what the market is going to do, if we're going to go into a drawdown, we want to stay into the trade. Now guys, it's very normal to get into a drawdown. It's very normal in trading, and no matter how good the strategy is, you will always get into drawdown phases. But eventually, if you're patient enough, you will see that your take profit is going to get hit. Now in the next videos, we will also focus on how you can maximize and profit off of these kinds of moves to get an even greater risk to reward. So if you're going to repeat the same thing over and over again, you will get very good at it and especially very fast. Now what can we see? Are we going for the previous day high or for the previous day low? We have already bearish moved onto the downside, so it's most likely going to be the previous day low. From here on, can we spot more confluence that are supporting our buys? Yes, we can, because we have relative equal lows combined with the previous day low. So all in all, that's another very high quality trade. And guys, it's literally that simple. It's boring, but it works. We're just going to look for protective swing highs and lows as usual. So if we just go on to the left, you can see an FVG, and we have already a swing high trading back into that FVG. So what is that telling us? Most likely we will not trade into that protective high. And from here on, as always, nothing new, nothing crazy. 11 PM UTC standard time as always. We have already identified our stop loss, so the protective high is going to be it. And we're going to shoot for close to a 142. So guys, as always, we want to set our stop loss to the protective swing high and our take profit to the major swing drawn liquidity. From here on, you want to let the trade play out. You will be in the trade for a couple of hours when trading this strategy. However, the analysis take barely an hour of work. It's literally 15 minutes that we have put into this trade. 15 minutes of work for $5,000. It is pretty good if you ask me. Now, unlike a lot of gurus on the internet, I'm not cherry picking setups. This strategy works back to back. Almost every single day you will get a signal. Now, this was the daily candle that we have identified earlier and it has given us a great trade. However, this is going to be the next day and we want to look out for another trade. So as always, the first step is identify the market conditions on the daily chart. Now we are making lower lows and lower highs. So where we're most likely to go, we're just going to continue on to the downside. And as always guys, are we going for the previous day high or for the previous day low? Once again, it is very obvious, we have already traded lower, so it's going to be the previous day low. So as always, step 2 is going to be protective swing points. Now you need to find a swing high that traded back into an FVG. As you can see, we have an entire swing high that has traded into this FVG, so most likely this high is not going to be taken out. So as always, UTC standard time 11 PM, from here on, we want to market order in. And right from the start, you can already see a very big problem. Now the risk to reward is very low. Although typically that is not a problem, however, we can do way better with the entry refinement I have just given you. If you look closely, what can we spot? We have two swing highs being relatively equal close to each other. However, we also know that this high will not be taken out. So our entry is going to sit right at the relative equal highs and our stop loss is going to stay at the protective high that we have identified earlier. So unlike the last trade where we had a relative equal low, we're only going to trade onto the previous day low as we don't really have more swing liquidity that we want to target. And from here on, as always, you just want to set your limit order and take the trade. Now whether or not the price is going lower, it has not violated the previous day low, so our trade is still valid for that matter. And it's important that you're going to stick to the actual analysis and not move your limit order. Eventually, you will see that the market will reward the ones that are just keeping the analysis up on point. We have done the analysis beforehand and we know that this is most likely going to be a take profit because the win rate is just so high of the strategy. And guys, this trade alone has given us over $11,000 because this strategy is just that good. Guys, it's safe to say that this strategy is insane, because I've refined it over the past 5 years of my entire trading experience. But being honest with you, when I just started trading, I lost a lot of time and money that I could have spent otherwise. That's why I've created my own mentorship, so you don't have to go through all of that struggle and stress that I had to go through. I do this by analyzing the charts together with my students and trading live so you can get into my mind and the actual trade idea that I'm taking. We already had countless of traders getting funded within 2 weeks of being in this program. Whether you want to work with me or not, I appreciate you regardless. On the left screen, you can see the entire playlist regarding my strategy, and on the right, you can subscribe to the channel as this is going to greatly help me out. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys in the next one.